Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Wednesday, October 28th, 2020, and today we are going to be talking about the battleground state of Florida. Donald Trump yesterday announced that their campaign would be slashing ad spending in this state. They had $5.5 million allocated to Florida, and they have since reversed that and moved it to the states of Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Now, this is such an uncalculated move. The RNC is picking up the bill, but they are nowhere near in terms of the ad spending that the Biden campaign is set to spend in the final few days of the election season. So, as you can see here, I mean, this is a state that Donald Trump won 4 years ago. He won it by 1.2%, and that really isn't too secure. I'd understand if you wanted to slash ad spending in Ohio or Iowa, even though those states are exceptionally close. Traditionally, you'd expect an incumbent who won the election in those states by 8 points to be up today. Obviously, this year has shown us that all of our expectations have been not met, regardless of where you are. But when we're looking at the state of Florida, there is no reason why the Trump campaign should not be spending money here unless they just don't have it. And I think that's the very telling story. Since Labor Day, as you can see in the article, Donald Trump has cut $24 million from his national ad budget. The Biden campaign has added $197 million. Biden has outspent Trump 3-1 nationally, and the Trump campaign only reserves $350,000 to spend on ads in Florida. That's roughly the cost of a mobile home in Orlando, Florida. So, letting you know that much, what can $350,000 actually do for Donald Trump in Florida? The answer is not a lot. Canceling $5.5 million in the final stretch of the campaign season is not a good look. Donald Trump and Joe Biden have been going back and forth in terms of ad spending up until Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing away. Donald Trump was raising a lot of money. The Biden campaign was still out raising him, but still, the Trump campaign was able to spend money in some of these battleground states. But the Biden campaign, what we've seen in the last week and in the upcoming week, is that they will have spent a total of $16.7 million in ads in Florida in the final 15 days. Donald Trump's campaign and the RNC is expected to spend a total of $4.3 million. So obviously, the Biden campaign 4 times as much as the Republicans, and that is pretty substantial. Now, the Trump campaign has outlined that they are very confident in where they are. They said they're spending more and they're winning big in Florida. That was a Trump tweet, and honestly, that just isn't true. They always talk about ground game and how voter registration is going to turn the tides. And yes, there is a reason why Florida is immune to wave election years, but to deny that this race will be close and that the president is vulnerable is just insane at this point. He's underwater no matter where you look. And if we're talking about his shifts to Michigan and Minnesota, these are 2 states he's almost certainly lost. And Florida is going to go to the president's way, according to a Trump spokesperson. And honestly, yes, it very well could. Donald Trump today holds a roughly 39% chance at winning Florida. But Florida is inconsequential to the Biden campaign, and if Biden's the favorite to win it today, there is no chance that Trump wins this election. And I mean that very literally. If Florida goes, and right now Joe Biden is leading in Florida, while it has narrowed up, it doesn't matter as long as Biden leads on election day. If you swing the Florida polls today, as much as they were wrong 4 years ago, Biden still wins Florida. That's a hint that they weren't actually too far off. And I said that. Florida, if it goes to Biden, there is no chance that Trump wins. I made a video talking about Pennsylvania, because if Pennsylvania goes blue, Biden has a 98% chance at victory. Today he has an 88%. But if Florida goes blue, it's more than game over. Biden has a greater than 99% chance if Florida goes blue. We're talking 99.97% of germs disinfected. We're talking those type of statistics, the ones that you would see on a television ad, which honestly, a lot of Florida voters probably aren't getting from the Trump campaign. So that's not exactly the best example. But the fact that Florida is being removed from the president's ad spending 6 days prior to the election is horrible. Because this state, for the sake of the Republican Party, desperately needs Trump ads. They desperately need President Trump. And he's not going there. He's making a last-minute stretch across these states. Now, he's really focused on Michigan and Minnesota, but I'll tell you this much. Minnesota's going blue and Michigan's going blue. And that puts Biden at a 94% chance of victory. Forget Pennsylvania. If that goes there, goes greater than 99 in Ohio, I mean, it's over. Not a chance. But Florida, I mean, this state does the same effect as all 4 of those states that I just mentioned. The same 4 states that Trump is trying so hard to get into. And even if Donald Trump is able to win Michigan, even if he's able to win Ohio, these are 2 states that voted for him 4 years ago. Biden's chances do drop to roughly 69%. But there is no way, not a single way, that Trump wins Minnesota, which means Biden's chances jump back up. And there is really, I mean, even if he wins Pennsylvania, Biden would still be the favorite to win the election. I mean, if we're looking at a number of these key battleground states, sure, if Pennsylvania and Michigan go red, it could be telling that other states would go red. But if Florida is going blue, it still remains game over for the Trump campaign. And honestly, I just don't see why, in any calculated move, as to why Florida would be given up. In 2016, the Trump campaign was up in Florida on Election Day. They had a reason to give it up. They are not up today, and we are 6 days away. We are very close to this election. And honestly, the Trump campaign is disappointing me with their campaign moves. The Biden campaign has money to spend. They're spending it in every state, which honestly, I'm surprised they aren't spending it as much in Texas, but that's besides the point. The Biden campaign is spending a lot of money in key battleground states right before the election. And they've allocated tens of millions of dollars to Florida, to North Carolina, to a number of other battleground states that they need to win. And the thing about the Trump campaign is that while they don't necessarily have all the money, as much as Biden's campaign enjoys, they still should be playing defense. They are so overly confident that the Trump campaign, or Donald Trump as a candidate, will win these battleground states. They are so confident he will win Georgia. They are so confident he will win Florida. Well, guess what? Biden leads in both of those states by the same amount. Let's talk about Iowa. A state that went to Trump by 9 points in 2016 has Biden up by a larger margin than both Georgia and Florida. In Ohio, Trump leads, but only narrowly. This is larger than Biden's lead in all 3 of those states, but he won it by 8 points. He should be running ahead. He should be doing much better if he wants a chance at winning the presidency. Because if we look at a number of other states, North Carolina, Biden leads by a larger margin than Trump in Ohio. In the state of Wisconsin, an 8-point lead for Biden. In Pennsylvania, a 5-point lead for Biden. In Michigan, an 8-point lead for Biden. Literally everywhere you look, with the exceptions of Texas and Ohio, Biden is leading. Even in Texas, Trump's lead is less than his lead in Ohio and less than, Biden's lead in a number of other key battleground states. So the national numbers show Biden with a 9-point lead nationwide. While Biden has a 61% chance in Florida, it is very possible Trump wins the state of Florida. But the fact that he's withdrawing ads is only going to reduce his chances. Yes, he has, issues with money. He doesn't have as much as the Biden campaign, but really, Minnesota, Michigan. I mean, Trump is free to very well prove me wrong in 6 days. I could be entirely wrong about the direction those states are going. But Trump's campaign can't even come up with internal numbers that shows that they should leave the state of Florida. According to his own internals, according to Republican internals, Biden's up in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, whether either tied or up in states that Trump won in 2016, which means the challenger is doing better. There is no reason as to why, Florida specifically should be given up. I would understand if he spent money in the Rust Belt states and Florida and North Carolina, but it simply, to me, does not make sense that the Trump campaign is removing ads from a state so heavily, weighted. 29 electoral votes, the 3rd most populous state in the country as a swing state, and they aren't even focusing on it. Because Trump doesn't even become the favorite with a win in Florida. That means he needs it more than Biden. If Biden's at greater than 99 in Florida, but Trump is at 28, what does that tell you? At the end of the day, Florida will be inconsequential for Biden, but Trump desperately needs it. Because if Biden even wins Michigan, his chances of winning jump up to 80%. I will give Trump the benefit of the doubt. I will give him Georgia. I will give him Texas. That only puts him at 23%. But let's say, Biden wins Michigan and Biden wins another state Trump is targeting, Pennsylvania. The election's over. So Florida, Trump needs. Biden's campaign does not. And the fact that Biden is outspending him 4-1 in this battleground state, 29 electoral votes, near Texas in size comparison, 29 electoral votes that are contested, it makes sense if and only if Trump is up in a number of other states for him to drop Florida and to purely focus on the Rust Belt. Either Trump's campaign thinks that they're up by a lot in Florida and are super confident about their potential victory there, or they're out of money. And it may be a combination of both. What we've seen from Trump in recent days is that he is getting overly confident. Do you remember another candidate who was overly confident? Hillary Clinton. In 2016, Trump did not take a single state for granted. To be completely honest with you, he ran that campaign very well. And while much of the ground was made up in the final 2 weeks of the campaign season, around this time is when Biden should be collapsing if we were to see a repeat. Well, guess what? Biden maintains a 9-point lead 6 days till the election. So I just think it's fascinating that this election has taken such a different route and that the Trump campaign is too overly confident. I mean, when we talk about the way that he speaks at his rallies, talking about certain states, he's assuming as if he's winning them. And that's really a fundamental difference between Trump and Biden. While Biden does say he's winning some of these states, he has the numbers to back it up. Donald Trump, if the polls are correct, is going to be in for a very rude awakening on Election Day. And what I've seen so far, whether it's the polling data, whether it's the early voting numbers, regardless of what you look at, the Republican Party is not faring as well as they should be. And while you could cherry pick data in some of the Rust Belt states and say, aren't Republicans turning out at a higher rate? It's very possible that a number of Democrats are waiting. And also, all it tells you is voter registration. Up until recently, West Virginia was a majority Democratic state in terms of voter registration. It actually might still be. So if we were talking about turnout, West Virginia would be blue. So regardless, that's besides the point. People generally don't update their party affiliation, so it's not always the best indicator. And a number of voters identify as independent. Do you really think there's only 40% Republicans and 35% Democrats in those states that, right-wing media would like to cherry pick in terms of talking about leads in the voter registration? No. A lot of those independents are either right-leaning or left-leaning. There's only a very slim amount of true independents. If we were talking about pure voter registration, we wouldn't see Biden with 52% of the vote nationally. We wouldn't see Trump with 43% of the vote nationally. It would be 40 to 35 to undecided. We know that a lot of these independents are leaning towards the Democrats, at least this election, which is why I really don't like to look purely at voter registration. It is never an accurate indicator of what actually happens. And also, there are a number of factors that could very well impact the election on Election Day. So Biden remains at an 88% chance of victory, and Trump is giving up practically a key battleground state. Like I said, if Biden wins it, it's over. More so than Pennsylvania. I mean, with Pennsylvania, it's over. And that's a state that is likely to vote to the left of Florida. But if Florida goes, you can't even draw a map where Biden loses the election. Because if Florida goes blue, expect a number of surrounding states to follow suit. Georgia, Arizona, Texas gets to a 45% chance of going blue. North Carolina's 82, Ohio's 55, Iowa's 68. Like I said, literally take a look across the country, no matter where you look. If Florida goes blue, the country shifts to the left. This state's 29 electoral votes can make or break Trump's campaign, but it is honestly inconsequential to Biden's. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord link for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all tomorrow.